evening. Welcome to the program. Tonight we are looking at stories of the week and news that has made headlines on point of view. My name is Chaza, right here to host, and my co-host slash analyst is Lance Sani Banda. Lance, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, Chaza. Good evening to our viewers, and thank you so much for allowing me to be on the program this evening. And looking forward to having a great deliberation and looking out to the hottest stories that we have today for our viewers.
Brilliant, and we'll be joined by other, analysts just to look at these stories and also news of the week. Let's get started. Let's look at the first piece, and on the other side, we get to analyze it. It appears we are having a technical problem there. We are still waiting that we get to look at the first item of news that is among those that have been on the headlines, so that on the other side we get to analyze it. And as soon as the technical team gets to rectify this challenge, then we shall switch to the item. And be rest assured that we have a couple of stories that have made headlines.
Ever noted today, like any other day, several truck drivers have been found wanting by the Road Transport and Safety Agency, RATSA.
Why don't you have a triangle?
The triangles we have now, this help I forgot to put it.
RATSA says on this road, the accidents are mostly caused by careless driving by motorists. This is so because the road is still in a better condition.
These are the prominent safety hazards that are on this road, where we have a lot of broken down vehicles. And in this case, we have got no warning sign to show that there is a broken down vehicle ahead. And this is very, very detrimental in terms of road safety. And the bad part is that there's a curve ahead and a lot of vehicles that are coming north heading south will be maybe on high speed. And if it's at night, the situation worsens because there's nothing reflective to show that this vehicle was broken down.
RATSA has since urged
around 06 hours, a minibus that was coming from Charleston, heading to town or moving in the direction of east to west. As it was approaching the Unza junction, you are aware that there's a pedestrian crossing there. So the vehicles that were ahead of him had stopped to allow for the pedestrians to cross. And in trying to avoid to hit on the vehicles that were ahead of him, he swerved to the right and then hit the pavement, crossed over into the opposite lane, where he went and he hit onto the ZNS truck head on. Amongst that people that have died, we have the driver of the minibus himself and also the driver of the ZNS truck.
very sad state of affairs there, in that accident. So we had two news items. One is talking about, reducing the road traffic accidents. It came from, Ratsa. And the other one was, Ray Hamonga giving us, what happened in an accident that happened on Great East Road. Let me invite you, Lance, your reaction. Lance appears to be on mute. I don't know if he's having a problem or something. Let me invite you, Himba. Himba, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, Chaza. Good evening, viewers, and thank you so much, Chaza.
Please add your voice to the two stories that we've looked at.
Chaza, first and foremost, it's very sad and very devastating that we can lose a lot of lives like that. 11. We are just from burying another high number of people who died on the spot from another accident. Those are very devastating issues. And my condolences to the family that are mourning, and we are mourning with them. Having said that, Chaza, I think the government, through the RATSA, they need to do something about it. Parodi Bantu, I think there's serious need to intervene because kuli careless driving parod. Bantu batamangisa mamotoka. But they are not even following the traffic rules. And despite that, even my road mappings in some areas, they are not even properly done. You can't see them when you're driving. So literally, the RATSA has to move in seriously because the rate at these accidents are going. It's really worrying. And I don't know how to say it. The police has to do something about it. Eona mahabita yakuti motoka muntu achitao motoka niyo sila parod. Wambasa zale police aileka na bevi bakapokola back traffic there. We are also holding them accountable for these lives we are losing in our country because they are paid to ensure that there's safety on the road. They are paid to ensure that the drivers and the pedestrians, they are following the traffic rules. But pena zamudabo mtu amugina na chimotoka chosira. What will they do? Akabapasa chezali bamulekelela. And these are the things that are going through now. If they can even impound these vehicles until they see that they are fit to be on the road. And even when the driver is going against the traffic rules, can we have serious measures to punish these drivers? And if possible, can we have the police everywhere to make sure? Manja again, even if we have the police everywhere, never they cause accidents in their own way. Bambo pisha mamotoka, bambo pisha mabasi during peak hour time. So something needs to be done. The traffic department, RATSA, has to go back to the drawing board and come up with serious, effective measures to control these road accidents we are having. It's really sad, and once more condolences to the families. I rest my case, Chaza.
All right, Himba, thank you so much for adding your voice to that. Let me get to Ruben. Ruben, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, Chaza. Good evening, panelists, and good evening to our viewers. Well, I join Himba to say condolences to the families that have lost their beloved ones. So sad. For me, my suggestion is we have to redesign that road that connects Unza into Great East Road. It's not the first accident that we are seeing at that spot. A lot of accidents have happened, and I think we need to block that road, the Great East Road that is facing going to Munali, connecting direct to Unza. I think people need to go until they reach the roundabout and come back and get into Unza. I think that would be the best way to avoid the accidents. Just like we redesigned the road, I think if you look at Independence Avenue, just near government complex. There was a road that was connecting direct going into Chilumbulu Road. Yeah, there used to be a lot of accidents there, and they blocked that road, redesigned it, and now we've seen that it's more effective. I hope Ratsa will try to block that road, and then let's see how the traffic will flow, because there is a lot of traffic, and then the traffic lights are not working. Again, that's the other issue. The traffic lights at Unza they've never worked. They're always down, and then that's a highway. People are moving very speed, and then you want someone to turn going into Unza. I think the road need to be redesigned. Thank you, Chaza, and thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We do appreciate Ruben for that. Lance, quickly come in and get to react to these two stories.
Thank you so much, Chaza, and good evening once again to the panelists as well as our viewers. Chaza, it's very saddening to lose lives again on the road. And this comes barely 24 hours after when Ratsa promised that they want to cut down on these road accidents by 50%. Now, what measures is Ratsa going to put in place, or what measures, short-term measures, have they looked at in putting into place to see to it that these road carnages get to stop? Of course, in the first story, you see where you have a whole truck over 40 tons because it has died on the road, and people are failing to push it either on the side of the road or to the nearest lay-by. And all that they do not even have triangles for them to put as a sign to say there is a breakdown here or there, or to signal oncoming motorists or traffic to know that there is this. So Ratsa needs to intensify road patrols, Chaza. Ratsa need to intensify road patrols to see to it that these motorists that do not abide by the traffic rules, they get to be penalized there and then. Ratsa, the way Ratsa works, Chaza, I think I would appreciate them that for them there is no bribe, as the traffic division is called Zambia Police. For Ratsa, when you are caught by Ratsa, it's strict impound of the motor vehicle. Then after that, they take you to the fast track court, and you get to either pay or save the necessary term of that traffic offense which you have committed. Now, coming to the solutions, short-term solutions that we can put at the Great East Road, especially that stretch between Unza and also Munali roundabout. For me, I would suggest that the Road Development Agency, because this is their area, the Road Development Agency needs to block that road, especially the middle part. If you've seen how Kafue Road has been blocked, they have those huge blocks in between the two opposite lanes, the oncoming and ongoing. Therefore, we have seen a reduction in the number of accidents happening on Kafue Road. If Great East Road was also redesigned, as Ruben has put it, redesigned in that way that on that middle park or on that alley, we also put those huge blocks in between, I don't think we would see a vehicle moving from the ongoing lane to the outgoing lane or to the other opposite lane, because they will hit the blockage and it ends from there. The vehicle would not jump to the other opposite lane. But then another thing, that Unza entrance, apart from blocking it, a short-term measure, we need traffic lights there. You can't just depend on the traffic crossing point to say, but the zebra crossing. It's not every motorist that stops there. Like today's incident, the bus driver did not realize that the vehicles in front of him have stopped to give way for pedestrians to cross, hence the reason making that wrong decision, which has costed these lives. So road signage as well as traffic lights should be looked into and should be intensified if we are to see a reduction in these road carnages. Chaza, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mukeleba. I have seen you. We do appreciate that you have joined us. But, we shall quickly get to the next story. I'll give you a minute to also react to the stories that we have at hand.
Good evening, viewers and listeners. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to express my views over the incident that took place today. Very sad indeed. We sincerely wish to express our condolences to the family of the deceased, those that lost our lives. That ought to have been prevented, but because of human error, we have suffered this great loss. And it is imperative that the authorities look into this. They don't have to wait until an accident or many lives have been lost. That's when they start making those measures. They are supposed to prevent lives, secure that area when we know that it was actually a dangerous zone, and they need to either put up a short flyover bridge if they want, or put traffic lights that are working. And my other message goes to the drivers themselves. Please, let's mind the way we drive our cars. And most of these cars that we drive in Zambia, they're second-hand vehicles that have been driven for so many years in the Japan or China or wherever they come from. When they come to our country, they're second-hand vehicles, and therefore they are not 100% roadworthy on the road. They can actually, they are the ones that are busy killing us, and we cannot destroy take away so many lives because of our negligence or our ignorance on how to speed up. Therefore, I just want to say thank you, and people, let's just observe traffic lights. We have to be very careful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mkeleba. Let's quickly get to the next story. Then on the other side, we continue with, the analysis.
Okay, go. Yes, let's go.
Dr. Richard Silumbe is my name, President of the Leadership Movement. We as Leadership Movement do not believe that IMF bailout will be a solution to this country or to help the living standards of our people, because we have history. We have learned from the past. The likes of Kenneth Kaunda went into IMF. It did not work out. The likes of Frederick Chiluba did that, he tried, it didn't work out. All the past presidents have tried and it doesn't work out. Not even one country in this world has developed as a result of IMF. So we think that local solution is the only emancipation to the Zambian people. We need to ensure that we find solution within ourselves. How do we find this solution? Number one, we have a lot of natural resources, we have a lot of minerals, and we have foreign investors who are not paying taxes according to what we are supposed to be having. And this is an area where we need to be taxing them. We can raise 1.3 billion from these multinational companies if only we are taxing them enough to safeguard our economy. Number two, we as a people, we need to be engaged in production. We need to run mines. We need to be productive. And when we start producing, we engage our young people into production, we'll be seeing products that we can produce and sell to other countries and gain forex. Because forex is the only genuine resource that can come into a country. Not loans, not aid. These have never worked and they don't develop any country. We need to think outside the box. We need to put our human resource into production. We produce products. We interact with our natural resources such as land, uranium, gold, manganese, copper. We produce these products, we sell to other countries and gain forex. That is the sure way of emancipating our
There we have it. We have, a dispute, arising from the IMF bailout. Let's get to react to this story. Let me start with you, Ruben.
Thank you very much, Chaza. Indeed, he's right. No country has developed because of the IMF. Unfortunately, one thing that he didn't say, or something that is not coming out from the opposition, is that the reason why we went to the IMF is because we messed our country up because of debt. So the reason we went to the IMF is because of the debt, not for us, for the country to develop. No, it's because we need to restructure our debt. Once we restructure our debt, then we can develop. He's right. One of the things that is also not saying is how can we resolve the issue of the debt there and then. It's like you, Chaza, you owe someone some money, and then they need their monies there and then someone is giving you solutions that are long term. IMF's solution is just a medium term for us to manage our debt just now. Then we need to find a long term solution to this, how we are going now to raise enough funds to develop what he was talking about. Now we can bring in we can put things like we can sell manganese out. Those are long term. Mining is a long term solution. It's not a short term solution. So all those solutions that he brought up were long term solutions, and IMF was the only way to go. Looking at the way we got the loans, the euro bonds, we needed to pay euro bonds like this September. The monies were due for payment, and Zambia didn't have the money. So IMF was the only way to sort out this problem. Thank you, Charles.
All right, thank you so much. We do appreciate. Let me get to you, Mr. Mukelebai, before I invite Himba.
Okay, thank you. No, with the IMF issue, I think people are just being dramatic because even the previous regime was also looking forward to go and get either more money or borrow more money from the IMF to supplement or rather to mitigate the situation that was in the country at the time. Unfortunately, they did not manage. They failed. They could not meet the requirements. They have been negotiating for so many years until they left the office. However, they left the country, their offices, the country in a very, very terrible state, like my colleague has put it. And the only way this government, the current government, could come in and put or resuscitate the economy was to borrow a little bit of money and ask for a breather. We need a breather because the owners of the monies that we borrowed from the Euro bonds, Europeans and the Chinese, they are busy looking for their money back, and we could not pay. In the previous regime, we even defaulted, and when you default a loan, you know what comes next. Comes with interest, high interest, and we, the Zambian people, are the ones that are going to pay back. So this government came up with that solution to say, look, we need something that will make us breathe, not to choke us as a country, because there is no money to pay. So therefore, they went to IMF to ask to request if they could be given something, and they came up with their own reasons and the conditions. And the IMF understood to see how they are working with evidence of what they are doing, providing. They decided to give us that bailout package. And this bailout package does not mean it's for free. Then we have to get it. It's our money and celebrate. No, it's a breather. Now institutions, other world institutions will actually come to our aid and give us more financial help to beef up the support of our country to develop or to reach our goals that we intend to. So for now, let's just have hope that things will yield positive result and we are going to enjoy the dividends, not today, not tomorrow, but in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Himba. What's your reaction to that, story?
Thank you so much, Chaza. Chaza, the issue of IMF is just that, I think in our country we like politicizing anything, even what we don't need to politicize, even the things we understand very well. We want to contradict, mwaenda mwafikana kuko kwesi mfunika nofika. We all know where we've come from. We all understand the background of this IMF. Somebody is talking about, we've got mines. So vene vandrama vazifuna imumbulo vaza tilindireni tikakumbe maini tikakumbe kopa tikagulise. Meanwhile, you've already defaulted. It's just the same. You owe somebody money and the owner of the money needs it, the money there and then. You have been saying, in fact, even the mining are not doing well. The mines are not really doing well, is it? So we need to go in, restructure, put things in place. But the owner of the money is waiting and needs the money. They are not saying we wait for you until mukasirize kukumba kopa ya nuyo mukaike pa matraki mukaende mukagulize. That's not it. So the problem here is not actually even the IMF. The problem is the opposition we have in Zambia. I don't even think if they still have a manifesto, my politicians, opposition. Because it's like now, they are waiting for anything that comes on. They politicize anything that comes on. But they are forgetting that they are here to save our interests. So he's saying we've got mines eating. And he said, but my youth are over here. Those youths, they need to be trained. Do you think when Congole Bazambo Lindil until you train your youth, you'll be able to have money and pay us back? Already, we've already defaulted. Tina interest to pay Lindi like as accumulate. So I think, countrymen, let us be realistic and honest with what we are doing, and let us be upfront. Yes, IMF will not develop our country, but it's something we can use for now to cushion the damage we have. Our country was damaged. So whether we like it or not, our opposition, we want them to do proper checks and balances to the government and offer proper solutions. We are tired of politics. So lero vakabwera opposition wakasituza na manifesto yao tayazimverako veva zakatishitira ntao yao ikafika. If at all they will ever come into power. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you so much, Lance. Do cement by adding your voice to the story that we have at hand.
Well, thank you so much, Chaza, and allow me to to kind of side with Ruben. I also feel that somehow or somewhere Dr. Silumbe is right. He brings out points of, if we get back into history, we look at the regimes or successive previous governments that took this loan and where it ended them. There's nothing to point at really to say when IMF borrowed us this money, this is what we achieved, apart from a ravaged economy that we managed to have, or that which we got into. Back in it should be 1991, 1992, when Chiluba came and the IMF was engaged and everything. There's nothing to point at to say this is where the IMF loan or bailout package worked and this is how it worked. But let me also be quick to say I am very much eager to see how it works out with the UPND government, because remember, each and every government that comes into power, they have got a different way of doing things, but a common ground of bringing development and a better life to the Zambian people. I don't want to believe that the MMD back then got a loan to enslave or to impoverish Zambian people. Neither do I want to believe that even now the UPND government has gotten this bailout package to impoverish the Zambians, but rather to improve the livelihood of the Zambians. Therefore, I'm very much eager, looking forward to see how this will work and to see the kind of a difference that this government will bring in terms of this IMF bailout package. We've started already with the debt restructuring and economic recovery. So let's get to see where it takes. But if it goes away, we'll be here again to come and say, well, we gave chance and this is what has happened. So let's watch this space, Chaza. Thank you.
Thank you, Lars. Let's quickly get to the next story and see you on the other side as we get to analyze it as well.
$1.3 billion that you've received. $1.3 billion that you've received from the IMF. Is it something to be proud of that this country has had to be bailed out financially?
Who should be proud of being bailed out? Who? The bailout is circumstantial because of the situation that we inherited.
But how do you plan to pay it back?
If you have a debt service ticket of the quantum we're talking about, $19 billion, at a high cost, if you begin to now lower this package, this cost, and also replace it with a fairly priced, capital, all these revenues released from debt service are going now into the revenue generation, into the economy.
You have pledged to provide free education, to reduce taxes. How sustainable is that in the long term?
Very sustainable.
How?
It's a question of, is it the right thing to do? The answer, yes, it's the right thing to do. So to reconstruct the economy, you need skills in the economy. By the way, I'm a beneficiary of the free education program.
Let's talk about corruption. You have members of the opposition that say that you are using this anti-corruption drive to persecute them. What's your response to that?
They borrowed money, put it in areas such as road construction, where it was easy to steal the money. And when the public say, we want what belongs to us, how does that become a political vindictiveness?
How would you describe your relationship with the former president, Edgar Lungu?
He put me behind bars 15 times. The expectation of the people was that I'll put him behind bars. We have defied that perception.
But a year on, one of the criticisms against your government is that you're using some of those same repressive laws to put people behind bars. What goes through your mind when you read about ordinary people being jailed for a year with hard labor for insulting you?
No, it's not insulting me, it's insulting the presidents.
But you pledged to reform some of these laws. What do you think about that law?
Let me answer your question. There's a law there. The first thing amongst the key things we said we'll do is to restore the rule of law. That law is one of those that we have isolated, that it has to be reformed and is going through due process. Before it is reformed, it is a law and it will apply.
In 2017, referring to SADC, you said it has a laissez-faire attitude in proactively dealing with concerns of citizens of the Southern African region. So what action do you think the regional body should be taking in some of the ongoing crises? You've heard outcries in Zimbabwe, you've heard outcries in Swaziland. What should SADC be doing?
The governance system, I think in my view, we must push democracy, entrench it.
How?
And, well, I think SADC should be able to say that you cannot assume public office by killing people through the barrel of the gun. Dictatorships, military coups. It's unacceptable. That's the underlying point I made. as an example, only as an example.
So many issues were brought out, from that interview, of the president, on BBC. I can see, Lance, you are eager to actually, react to that. I think I'll invite you to come first. Lance?
Thank you so much, Chaza. Are you able to get me?
Yes, I can get you. You can go right ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Chaza. Um, it's interesting to see the Republican president, react to many issues which were raised in that particular interview, of which I would like us to stick to two things here. One, the IMF bailout package, and secondly, the law that talks of insulting in terms of reforms. The first thing that you will note, Chaza, let me start with the insult law and reformation happening there. The first thing that which you will note is the president coming back again to say when UPND was campaigning, they will uphold the rule of law. Okay, so rule of law. And currently that law is going under reform. So before it has been presented to him as a bill for reformation or to parliament to debate and everything, because right now judiciary is just taking people's notings or concerns, or people are going to make submissions to him over this same insulting law. So it is still law as it stands. Therefore, whoever that insults the presidency will face at least 1 year of imprisonment with hard labor. Okay, that I think time and again, me individually as Lance, I've said, let's respect the presidency. Whether you like or you don't like the person who is sitting on that seat, the presidency itself must be respected, because sooner or later, your favorite person will hold that seat. How will you feel when people who don't like him or her start insulting that seat, that presidency? So first of all, let's respect the presidency. That law is there. As much as it is going under reformation, trust me or believe you me, it still won't allow a human being to wake up and just start insulting the presidency. Reformation obviously will be on the punishment and maybe how to go about it, who reports and who what's the maximumity of the tenure of somebody saving that jail term or that sentence term. So rule of law must prevail and the presidency must be respected. On this one, I stand with the president. They do not insult HH as a president. They insult the presidency. And therefore, as a Zambian citizen who abides by the rule of law, it is my duty to go and report any individual that insults the presidency. If they take it personal with HH as a human being, well, so be it. But if they attach the presidency to it, I cannot leave them be to do whatever that they like to do. Coming back to the IMF issue or the IMF deal, the president comes back to give a scenario of why they have contracted or why they decided to go to the IMF and get the 1.3 billion United States dollars bailout package. Okay, this is, in a long run, this is a capital that will help us to pay back the 19 billion that we are owing as a country, both to foreign and local debtors or creditors that we owe this money. So it's like you have been given this, and then you have also negotiated with these creditors and debtors to say, look, we are restructuring our economy, and therefore can we not move at the rate that you want to move, which is a high percentage? Let's come down to this percentage. Let's restructure the payment plan for this debt. So we have this bailout package. This is how we hope to use it in 36 months. This is the program that we have. But within that 36 months, we should be able to pay back all the money or most of the money that we owe to all these creditors and people that we owe money. So kudos to the president for coming out and also share with the Zambian people on how or why they contracted this 1.3 billion United States dollars. Chaza, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We do appreciate, Lance, for that reaction. Mr. Mukelebai, please do come through.
Well, thank you. I'm not going to touch on the issue of IMF because we have already discussed that, and the president just extrapolate a lot about over the same issue and told us the position of the country. Just an agreement of what we said earlier. Well, coming to the issue of the law, the defamatory law, where the president is when you insult the president, you have to. That is currently that's the law and that's the way it is. And if you dare to insult the president, you will be. Don't be surprised to be arrested and be taken to court and be sentenced, because currently it's the, even though it is still undergoing review or trying to restructure or repeal the law and come up with a new law. Right now, the status quo continues. The law is there, and it will be applied as it is until it is pronounced that it is no longer a law. And coming to the other issue that the president mentioned, which I really wanted, I felt like, well, in his own individual capacity, he felt that he cannot go ahead and revenge from whatever the previous regime president did, and which is okay. That is in his own opinion, but not to the Zambian people. We, the Zambian people, we know if we find that the previous regime, as he is put it, that they stole, they borrowed carelessly and came up with infrastructure project where they thought it was easy for them to siphon the funds and put the money into their pockets. If there is evidence and if it shows, as the president has put it, this is where now we need to prosecute those people who are purporting to be persecuted. If at all it is true they stole, and as the president put it, and it's evidence, we have prima facie evidence to establish that they stole. Why are we delaying to remove the immunity of the previous president, so we can pave way for prosecution, not persecution, prosecution? He is not above the law. He needs to be questioned. If he's innocent, he will be exonerated and we will not even bother him. But if he's guilty, this is where we need to remove his immunity so the court could adjudicate on his matter without prejudice. I rest my case.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Mukelebai. We do appreciate Ruben and Himba. I think I'll spare you, for the next story. Let us quickly get to the next story, and on the other side, we do our analysis.
Is promoting lesbian rights, gay rights. We've said it before in opposition and now in government that we do not support gay, lesbian rights as a government.
Debate on sodomy has flooded the country in the past few days, and the current administration has found itself at the center of the discussion, being accused of supporting the vice. United Party for National Development UPND National Trustee Grace Chibube says the continued politicization of the problem is acting as a hindrance to finding realistic solutions to this problem, stating that there is no need to politicize matters which have already been clarified. Ms. Chivube adds that there is also a need for concerned parties to unite and find workable solutions, as opposed to viewing real problems through a political lens. She was speaking to Cabinet News in the company of Party Lundazi District Coordinator Dawood Mbeva.
If we go Zambia is a Christian nation. Sometimes mule umfa konenso ni mule umfa konenso nukupatikisha omuntu ikintu ekyo tabamo mule umfa konenso nukupatikisha hakainde vintu efo tabamo iyi freedom ya amiletera hakainde freedom amiletera hakainde mwafuma mu mulaini.
He wants to raise the high morals of every Zambian citizen, because you see, with high morals expect development. Hakainde would want to restore peace, which is already doing, so that development can be realized in our country.
Meanwhile, the party, through its national deputy youth chairperson Trevor Mwinde, has spoken out on its reference to the former ruling Patriotic Front PF in its governance.
And then what is wrong for somebody to talk about PF's failures and PF's activities by infusing cadres in sensitive government positions to make sure that they frustrate? Didn't you see just in the recent past where the PF secretariat published lists of diplomats that are not remitting money to their secretariat? Isn't that an embarrassment?
They have further called for the discussion of productive national issues, stating that there is need for Zambia to realign its political system to issue-based politics. Zipporah Mshala, Cabinet News.
Has continued to receive sponsorship to cause anarchy in the country, number one. And if they're denying, let them deny. Then we shall call again for another press conference. But now the information I've given you is they received $100 million to cause anarchy in a country like this. For own information. Okay? They received it, and their plan is to ensure that they make this country ungovernable. That's what they're planning. That's their plan. It's as simple as that. So I've talked about it, and you need to know that this is what the PF are doing. And also take the news that Mr. Edgar Lungu refused to be counted. This is important. Because a former head of state who should be a national leader today, a statesman, why should he be counted? Why must he be part and parcel of the people that are encouraging members to be counted? Remember, we've got PF MPs, councillors. They need that information in their wards, in their constituencies. But now, if a national leader like him has refused to be counted to census, given Lubinda, who is the acting president of the PF also, refused to be counted during census, why should he refuse? Because he calls himself as an opposition leader. So your guess must be as good as mine that it's because he's still bitter. Okay? He's still bitter because if they have accepted that there's a new government in place, they would even be in the forefront encouraging their members to be counted. Census is not a UPND activity, colleagues. That was a national issue. They failed to conduct census. Census was supposed to be done, should be in 2020. Yes, 2020. But because they had to divert the money to politics, so we couldn't have census in 2020. But today, quickly we managed to have it on time. Within 1 year of us being in office, we said we need to know how many people we have in this country. But now our colleagues, instead of them being part and parcel of this team helping us, they are not there to assist. Rather, their former head of state, if you like, their party president, because to me,
All right. I think we can focus on the last story of the two that we've had. The one that is, allegedly talking about the refusal of the former president, to be enumerated during, the 2022 census. Let's get to start with you, Himba.
Thank you, Chaza. On that, my reaction, Chaza, here is a bit, I don't know how I'd put it, but I would say there are two issues that has come out there in that video. There's an issue of the Patriotic Front receiving money, but that I wouldn't want to comment on it because I think it literally has nothing to do with me, and I have no evidence to talk about that. And even for the issue of the former president, we don't have evidence. If it happened, it's sad. But ngatafyachitike, then that is good. If it happened, then it's something we have, I mean, it's regrettable because the former president is a role model. And I'm sure he understands that census, it helps in a lot of governance issues. One of the issues is that it helps in the planning of the nation. That's the only way the nation will be able to come up with a very effective budget. So if Bali Kanava Kateka, it's something that is regrettable. And I think if our current acting president refused, then I think it comes back to the point I said, the problem we are having is that people would want to politicize everything. If they refused, I'm sure it's very embarrassing and it's sad because as former leaders, for now, they should be the one to make sure that every Zambian, and in fact, even people from their party, they follow the laws of the country because census, it's a law for somebody to be counted as a Zambian so that we can have a very effective budget. So Ngabali Kanava Kateka Katuishwe not for budget when he was in power. But I hope it didn't happen. Thank you, Chaz.
All right, thank you, Himba. Ruben, quickly, your viewpoint concerning this story we have.
Thank you, Chaza. I'll be very, very much surprised if next week, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Mr. Ajomba is not invited to the police for questioning. He's raised one very important issue. He said he has evidence that the Patriotic Front has received is it $10 million to cause ANAC. That's more like supporting terrorism in a country. And since you have that evidence, let him present it to the police so they can investigate and prosecute the people that are involved. And if it's not, then that is also, what do you call it in law? When you're alarming the situation in the country, that's also breaking the law. He has put his life at risk here. It's either he has real evidence that the police is going to use and is going to become as a witness. If he doesn't have, then he will stand in the dock because really has alarmed the nation that the Patriotic Front has received is $10 million to cause havoc in the country. Thank you, Chaza.
Right, thank you, Mr. Mkelevai. What's your reaction to this story?
Well, I feel like let us not dwell so much on innuendos, or rather cases that we have no proper evidence on. But I can relate from the gentleman who is coming up with these issues that he's just trying to give the opposition their own medicine with their propaganda. He is trying to use the same tactic. However, if he's got all the necessary information and facts, then for him to come out to the media, then it means that the gentleman has the smoking gun. So let's just wait and see if the authorities will question him or ask him for more information on that. When it comes to Wolungu refusing to be counted, that's just a joke. he can sit. We know how many people he is, to put it that way. So we cannot. So even if he says shaitseko shafiri chirefu mumpendeko twalishiva tini va Esther na valungu 1-2 twashamaki. Then we move on. Why should we even make it? Why should it be a news? Mwevantuns. That is just politicking, which Bohimba put it already, that we should not politicize. I don't know why we have avoided to speak about the first earlier incident that you showed the video. However, I would just comment just a little bit to say, this is the propaganda we've been talking about, where people are spreading falsehoods, and the country suddenly was awakened into over a lie or over false allegations of gayism or homosexuality. But you heard the president. We have the law in Zambia. We cannot. The law in Zambia is very straightforward. Anyone that is found committing this offense is guilty of imprisonment. So I don't understand why should even we alarm the situation when we know that it is against the law. If you have evidence of sodomy, if you have evidence of then go to court.
Mr. Mkelewai, just hold your thought. We'll actually get to react to that one because it's coming up next.
I'm sorry I jumped the gun. I thought you've deliberately decided to
thrown it to the wind.
That you've been silenced already.
No, not at all. It's forthcoming. Thank you so much. We do appreciate. Let me invite you now, Lance. Get to give us your reaction to this story.
Thank you so much, Chaza. I was actually one of the privileged journalists who went to cover Rene Hashombwa, who is a UPND member of the presidential campaign team for 2021 general elections, and he's continued, or he has remained with that title whenever he has press briefings, wherever that he's appearing for news. He wants that title to be there as a member of the presidential campaign team. At least people should know that he campaigned for President HH. Now, like Himba said, we love politics in Zambia. We politicize everything that needs not to be politicized. I wonder why we are very much politically charged, such that you would even bring up an issue of enumerators failing to count former President Lungu due to whatever reasons. He did not only make mention of former President Lungu, he also went further to say, even given Lubinda acting president for PF, refused to be counted. This brings me to what Ruben said. Does this guy have evidence? Journalist asked him, do you have evidence? All he could say is, I am provoking the opposition or the PF to come back, respond to that. If they respond not accordingly, then I'll come back and give you the evidence, or I'll call you, the journalists, again to come and present the evidence. Now, this brings me to one issue which I will try somehow to cite Bo Mukelebai in the previous issue, where he's, is it Mukelebai or Himba, where either of the two said we don't have opposition in the country. How can you have opposition in the country if the ruling wants to politic? They don't want to bring real issues. They want to politic, and instead of bringing real issues, how do you expect the opposition to react or to fare? They will also come back and politic. What do they politic? They take serious governance issues and they put politics in them. What happens from the ruling party? They come and bring serious issues and politic. This is a very serious issue that he has raised, to say the former president, together with the acting president for PF, refused. In fact, in his full press briefing, he said former President Edgar Lungu did not only refuse, but he chased the young girls or the young boys who went to count him. He chased in his full press briefing. That's what he said. So if he brings that scenario and he doesn't want to bring evidence, that is worrying for a lot of people. That is worrying for the Zambian. Do not only bring an issue without evidence, or do not allege without evidence. At least allege with evidence. Let's stop politicking in this country and start working for the people. The Zambian people are not waiting for politics. The Zambian people are waiting for their lives to be bettered because they voted for a party or for people in power so that they can better their lives, not to start politicking. The other issue of the PF received money. Well, I would also decline, like Himba did, to say until we see the evidence that PF received whatever money that they received so that they can come and bring havoc to the country. They can bring this gayism and whatever, because he spoke about this in the whole press briefing to say they are being sponsored to bring havoc and to start talking about gayism. They are paying these young people or these people that are sodomizing people. That's what Vene said. Without evidence, he is just alleging, or he is, for lack of a better term, hallucinating. Let's bring real issues, for crying out loud. Let's bring real issues. Let's bring evidence for what we allege. That's my input, Chaza. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. And I like the point that you have raised that, he who alleges must prove. So it must be an allegation that, is accompanied by evidence indeed. And that will be meritorious kind of, submission to the public. Let's go to the next story. And on the other side, we do analyze.
From some sections of society purporting that a special clinic for homosexuals was built recently. It was established before the new Dawn government ascended to power.
It is not us. It is the government of the PF, after being advised and after having considered the issues, to establish a special clinic at the UTH for the homosexuals. It is not the UPND government. If they establish the clinic at UTH to provide special services for the homosexuals, it follows that the PF government then knew that there was homosexuality in this country.
Asked whether government had any intentions of closing the special clinic at UTH, Mr. Mwimbu said no at the moment.
It was established for a specific purpose, and I have no doubt in my mind that that purpose still exists. So we cannot close it for the time being until the situation changes, because we have to protect our people from the vice of HIV and AIDS. You are all aware that one of the major ways of transmitting HIV and AIDS is through these unnatural acts that are being perpetrated.
He also refuted claims that he has been warning people against speaking on homosexuality through parliament.
I've never threatened anybody. My statement on the floor of the House, which I made, was that all of us have the responsibility to protect the moral standing of our people in this country and ensure that we adhere to the laws of this country. I also requested various stakeholders to educate those who are involved in homosexuality to desist from that vice, for it is against the law of this country.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mwimbu says government has just unearthed a scam in which some political parties, media houses, and pressure groups are sponsoring sporadic incidences of men and boys being sodomized. He has maintained that the UPND government will not condone acts of homosexuality. He adds that preliminary investigations indicate that some political parties have hijacked the homosexuality agenda to dent the name of the head of state. Tito Kalama.
All right, it's actually that time that you reacted to the issue as regards gayism, and also the position of government coming through Jack Mwimbu, and also the issue of the homosexuals clinic at UTH. I will actually invite Mr. Mkelebai, since I had cut you short when you started reacting to that story, as it alludes gayism. Please come through as the first one before we get to another person.
Thank you so much. Well, like Mwimbu put it, Honorable Mwimbu, that I believe there's actually something going on, especially from the opposition, that there is a scam going around, and suddenly, look at what is happening in the country. We have very serious matters. People need money into their pockets. People need jobs. Youths are unemployed. There are so many challenges that are at hand. Immediately, suddenly, within a week or a month, we are now hearing about homosexuality issue, sodomy issue coming up. Are you sure these are the issues that are happening? Look at that case that took place of a gentleman that died. May his soul rest in peace. And then he was found that he had his behind whatever. He had some problems, and then people rushed into conclusion. Even the UTH spokesperson announced that this man came in sodomized. There are these issues. You can tell that people have been either bought to speak against this, so that they dent a very bad picture of the current regime, to say they are in support. Look at Sean Tembo. He's busy going around telling people that this government is supporting. Hakainde went to United States to go and to go and support this gayism. Who told him that? And it is all over. He has many followers. It is all over the internet. It is all over. These people, we know for the fact that this is what we are talking about coming up with allegations without any proof. But we have the law at the end of the day that prevents or that supports the country. So why should these people start coming up with such kind of allegations? We know from the history part of it, to say this is not their first time they started these allegations. We heard them saying these things during their campaigns. We heard them talking about these allegations way before. And we are not surprised that they're bringing out this issue today, because we know that this is their trend. These are their threats. And I'm glad that the Minister of Home Affairs is onto this issue and investigating. And he should also not just come up with allegation, but he should go get deeper and get proper evidence and give us the names and institutions that are busy support or sponsoring these people who are busy going around spreading falsehood on sodomy and homosexuality. So we just want to tell the nation that it is not true. Things are happening that way. People are making assumptions. They are building castles in the air so that they could dent the current government. The law is clear. There is Zambia does not allow homosexuality. And if you do and found, you will be liable and guilty. The law is clear and straightforward. Even the homosexuals themselves, they know They can't come to Zambia and start practicing or doing those things. They'll even hide. They're not that stupid. They know. That's my position. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. We do appreciate. Let me invite Himba to also add, her voice. Her voice to these two stories.
Thank you so much, Chaza. It's really sad. I'll keep on talking about politicking things which we are not supposed to politicize things. It's really sad the way our country, we've decided to handle the issue of homosexuality like a door. You know what I mean? Like chakwangasha, not wasenda watu ife tubute tuangale. You know, we are talking about people's lives here. Whether we like it or not, homosexuality is in our country. And it has not started today or yesterday. It has been there. It has been done in secret. But just because somebody who thinks they want to push up, I don't know, their personal agenda, whether it's personal or political mileage, they want to take advantage of the situation. But that is something, as Zambian people, we have to be careful about it, especially the citizen. Talking about the clinic, I stand with Honorable Jack Mwimbo. If I'll speak in my local language. If we close this clinic, you parents out there in the communities, there are a number of things which your children are doing which you don't know. There are many reasons that causes this homosexuality to start. It's some of the things is things they watch on the television, it's the company in the community, the people they mix with in the community. But there'll come a day when your own child, your own brother, your own sister would want medical treatment for any disease they are going to have. Apparently, as much as we know now that homosexuality, lesbianism is not allowed in our country, both traditionally or by law. Traditionally, it's a taboo. Mukamusenda shani umwana kumutwala ku hospital, kumutwala ku bantu wonse nokela that uyu ni lesbian, uyu ni homosexual. Mukamutwala shani, how is that child going to be treated? How is your own brother going to be treated? How is your own uncle going to be treated? Apart from that, even if these people are doing what is a taboo against our law, against our culture, they still have the right to medical. So as much as let's think outside the box, homosexuality, it's against the law in our country, it's against our culture, it's a taboo. But whether we like it or not, and these are own relatives, these are own families. So this clinic was started in the PF regime, which I salute and I respect them. That was a very wise, and it's now continued in the New Dawn government, which for me, it's okay. But how are we going to handle this issue? We have to bring men and women of integrity to the round table. It needs holistic approach. It needs people who are matured and who can use their brain to sort out this issue. Not politicians who are hungry and who wants to feed their tummies. Not people who wants to push their personal or political agenda. I rest my case, Chaza.
Thank you so much, Himba. We do appreciate. At this point in time, I'll invite you, Lance, to also get to add your voice, to this, issue.
Thank you so much, Chaza. Once again, let me agree with Himba. Politics has taken over, unfortunately, the people of Zambia who want to politicize everything and anything that comes up and about. But again, today I was faced with, I would call it a hard question on me. At work, we were discussing this same issue of LGBTQI to say, how do we end this thing? Is it possible to even end this so-called LGBTQI? Somebody posed the question to say, If you were offered 10 billion today to say, Lance, make a 2 minutes video explaining on how you would end LGBTQI, I faced a challenge, Chaza. Not explaining why I should advocate for the end, but explaining how I can end. There's no way of how you can end this thing, Chaza. The first thing that came into my mind was to say, so this thing of LGBTQI, what is this? Is this a scientific problem? Is this a moral problem? Is this a psychological problem? Or is this simply a decisional problem? Did somebody just decide to say, I will be LGBTQI? Like some people are coming out now to say, I was born this way or I was born that way. Others are coming out to say, I was born with a decision to choose what I want to be or who I want to be. This is $1 million question, Chaza. This LGBTQI, what kind of a problem is it? Is it scientific? Is it something to do with your conscience? Is it something to do with your morals? Or is this just something that you decide to do? When you answer this, it will be very simple, Chaza. When all these 4 questions are answered, or one knows how to answer these 4 questions, then it will be easy for us, maybe not to end, but to reduce this thing called LGBTQI. I argued today with my colleagues to say jail sentence is not a solution. Chaza, if I'm gay and today I'm caught, I'm sentenced to 15 years in prison, do you think that will stop me from being gay? They've given me a home ground. Wanipasa ni home ground, nienda kuselo kuja. You know, it's easy for me in that cell to at least do whatever I want to do.
You don't
If
even need
I'm
to
a
say.
lesbian,
You don't even need to say wakupereka ku ngati ndiwe gay. If you are just straight, you are heterosexual, wakupereka mu cells y'abakazi, prison y'abakazi. Ati ndiye jail sentence yako. Ni Christmas kuliyo. It's quite ironic.
So, exactly, Chaza, LGBTQI jail sentence is not a solution. We need to seek a right solution. Is it spiritual? Is it morally? Is it scientific? Or is it something to do kaya baku kuja kuchainama nga kulubana wama kuitana chani? These are the things we need to answer. When we answer these 4 things, Chaza, it will be easy for us to deal with this LGBTQI. For now, this is a hard issue for us to deal with, but what we must do as citizens, as CSOs, as NGOs, and the government is to advocate or to at least sit down these people, make them understand to say, tikafuno chichita mu open mwetifuno chiletera mu open apa, it's a taboo. The way they were practicing it in private or in quiet, we didn't know. We didn't know, but they were practicing it. Sivinambe hapa mu New Dawn, sivinambe MPF, sivinambe mu MMD. It has been ongoing. So let's seek for a right solution if we are to reduce or to let people practice it as private as they were practicing it. Unlike tivirete politiko, uyu ndiayamba, uja ndiana shitabwanji, uja ndiana shitabwanji. We are not solving anything, Chaza. Politics or politicking on important issues will not take us anywhere. We'll just be going round circles. Bakachokapo ba New Dawn, whichever party that will come. The same New Dawn, newasa kapoka mati, aeva bwera hapo weta promote chani, vaso. But, nishisindi aeva viamba. So, let's put our hands together and seek for a right solution. Unlike finger pointing. Uyu, that will not work, Chaza. Thank you. That's my contribution.
All right. Thank you so much. And we'll actually get to the next item. And this one believe you me, will be done on a lighter note. Let's get to it.
Nanga ni chani. Nanga ni chani.
I did. What was it? What was?
You were saying something, Chaza.
Kabwelepo futi.
Nanga ni chani.
Na winga ataba ku wedding atwamulesa kumwamoba.
Manje batisi baenda futi apo baenda osakira mwoba kuba.
Achokako mpaka bamvomerese kumwamoba ndiye pyaza bwerera ku chechi.
It's a protest, you know, a protest to say, this is my wedding and I want to do whatever I want to do. But why is it that they want to stop me from imbibing from my favorite drink? Alcohol.
you know, Chaza, this is where you say, on my wedding, you get it, eh? You plan it in such a way that you will do this thing on your big day. Then so this lady, but he seems to be a Tonga. I him.
Waona pe wayamba manje waona ka.
I think Mom you agree with me.
I cannot judge by looking.
But I'm so happy because in Tonga we can say wali minina, you know, and we say, I wish I could explain this. Ati muzimo galia mbilila ngoga uligwa. You know, they say if I don't know how to say it in English, how I can put it. If somebody can help
like,
me.
Can I try? Can I try? Like the city that stands, the city that Monzo Wagai Minina.
Muzimo. You know,
the spirit.
CJ,
So initially, I'm so happy because she was like, I want to drink. She stood up for herself and she didn't pretend about it. She was like, I want to drink, although I'm sure a lot of people may condemn it, but at least she was frank enough. She did not pretend. She did not hide. She was like, no, I want to drink. Allow me to drink. Even if my in-laws are here, I don't care. I'm going to drink because I want to drink. And
my in-laws
This is what I've been saying. Isema Zambia tilina problem. Timafuna oleta maningi tumarules, tumalamolo. Even where it's not supposed to. You know, uyu mukazi uyu, she was just trying to express her happiness. She wanted to bring some kind of joy on her wedding. It is her day. That's her big day. But I believe kuli bamene tubafimbusa tubandanani tubwera tuma rules twa fake tuma repugnant rules we sungamwe because in wedding yako banji according to this mwambo
bisako misango bazationeramo parents bamwamu
kapena bazi bataka kolewa amamba kuvura enda chema research.
It is okay. It is okay. It is okay. It's a wedding day after all. Me, I stand by her and I support her, and we should support our women when
For
they are.
drinking.
Yes, why not? Why should
Vomkelebai, what
atiwamire
if
galu? Atiwamira galu kuluma
Vomkele
chan.
Vomkelebai, what if
Eh,
it's that type where they just drink a Khalid and they black out, which means there'll be no wedding.
kulibe boduma what if ayo muntu ni wedding
Esho
yake.
alibo valikana na marini muntu wa black.
Imagine.
Olocheya pezeka njere nija tape yakutira njere yeyi mwakambira Ruben Kalidi che ina mbuya. You know that tape.
Nikumuleka. It's our time. It's our wedding.
valikana na marini.
So now look what happened. She walked away. Meaning, was there a wedding?
No, it's okay. Me, I'm sure she went. I'm sure she went and picked a bottle and came back, and I'm sure she danced very well.
Me, I support her movement. That is what we call standing for yourself. Yes. Those are the equal rights we talk about.
Ladies and gentlemen, I wish we could go on, with.
But before you close, Chaza,
Yes,
another interesting story that maybe would have one of the stories that maybe would have included on this was the issue of our national team, the Zambian national team. The coach never crossover. So far as they don't know where the coach is. No one seems to know where the coach is.
So did they win? Did they win the game or they lost?
How can you win?
So when there's a loss, always I think the coach just went in hibernation because
bola case kocha so ma passport tikapena
kuli Beninsoni
before the game was played.
Yeah, because he knew he did a bad job. They were going to lose anyway. That's why you come back the support.
Did he get paid before he disappeared?
He's claiming that he wasn't paid. Faz said they paid. So, but the thing is that we don't know where the coach is.
In Zambia, we are just jokers.
Joke
about everything.
No, he's replaceable, by the way. He's replaceable. No one. He is not immortal. We can replace him and fire him. He's breached the contract. So
let's bring back Bome.
Yeah, Ngaswana Mulipire. Yeah, he can resign. He has the right to terminate the contract.
So
yeah, but then we are going to sue for damages. How can we lose when we're supposed to?
And on Monday, ladies and gentlemen, I think I will have to cut you short. From here to the viewers, we are so grateful, for you actually having time, to view and follow the program. Not forgetting our very own, analysts. You've been great. We enjoyed our time because of you. And not forgetting the technical team. You've been so good. We greatly appreciate. Till next time. This has been a Point of View, and I've been your presenter right here, or your host. My name is Chaza. We are saying God bless you all, and do join us next time. Thank you so much.